Good evening, friends. Welcome to Net Dream and Help Net Aspirants YouTube channel. Today, let us see about Geoffrey Chaucer in a short view. Okay, we will see about his works and about Canterbury Tales. He was born in 1340 and he was died in 1400. Exactly his date of birth is unknown. Next, we will see about background. In 14th century, political changes and religion of Edward III shows growth of English national spirit. So after French rule, English rule came through the Edward III. So lot of national spirits entered. And next is England separating from political ties of French king. So Edward entered as a king of the English. So lot of French political ties are deprived. Okay. So English language is speech of commons, courts and parliament. In the time of French, lot of French words are used and influence the people, so they can't use English language. So in the time of age of Chaucer, they used common words and courts people were used these type of English languages in the parliament too. What are the social changes happened during age of Chaucer? So it is decline of feudalism. So in the time of Norman conquest, lot of feudalism is being impacted. So after age of Chaucer, this feudalism is declined. Okay. Next, in the Richard II religion, lot of controversies are there. That is luxury and poverty. It is the crisis which happened in the age of Chaucer. So England began to conquering and colonizing people. Colonizing people. So they try to depart themselves from various places to places. So Chaucer's scene and Wycliffe translation formed Midland dialect. So Midland dialect is the important dialect used in age of Chaucer. So what are the important writers? Who are the important writers during this age of Chaucer is, first is Langland, William Langland, who wrote Piers the Plowman. So he wrote about social discontent, preaching quality of men and dignity of labor. These are the important points which discussed by Langland. Next, Wycliffe, who is a famous Bible translator. So is great for religious reformer and he who started Lollard's movement. And next is Gower, John Gower, and he is a scholar and literary man criticizing vigorous life. Okay. And next is Mandeville, so John Mandeville. So he is a famous traveler and his famous book is The Travel of Mandeville. Next, Chaucer. So he is the important and pioneer to English literature, I think so. So he is the starter of poetry too. So he is a scholar, he is a traveler, he is a businessman, courtier, and he reflects literature and life too. Next, futures of age. Okay, in the time of age of Chaucer, what are the futures happened? So English became common in court and in daily life. So decline of feudalism. So that is the important concept during this age of Chaucer. So national spirits increased. So war happened. So between French and England. So because of the war, lot of national spirits increased. So voice of common increased through literature. So lot of writers pour their views through their literature like Gower, William Langland, Madwell. These are the writers pour their views. Even Chaucer too pour in literature. So next we will see about Geoffrey Chaucer. So first we will see of his introduction. So he was called as the first national poet of England. So he was born between 1340 to 1345. So actually his date of birth is unknown, so we will consider is born as 1340 to 1345 in London. So his father was a prosperous wine merchant, and in 1357 he worked as a page to Elizabeth de Burgh. He was a Countess of Hertfordshire and wife of Prince Leonard. So Edward III later sent him to France for his diplomatic vision. So in there were a lot of influence in literature to him. Around 1366, Chaucer married Philippa Rohet, who is a lady working to Queen. Okay. In 1374, Chaucer was appointed comptroller of the Lucrate, London Customs. It is a type of work in customs office. Okay. Next, in 1386, he was elected as a member of Parliament for Kent and also served as a justice of peace, okay, between French, Italian, like that. Okay. He held a number of royal posts, serving both Edward III and his successor Richard II. Okay. So he was a great number during the age of Chaucer. So he lived during three kings. You want to note down that is Edward III, who ruled from 1327 to 1377. Next is Richard II from 1377 to 1399. He lived in the time of Richard II. He died at the time of Henry IV. He ruled from 1399 to 1413. So he was the first poet to buried in Westminster Abbey. So it is called as the Poet's Corner. So what are the important points to remember about Chaucer? What are the other writers convey about Chaucer? Let us see that. So Dryden called Chaucer as the father of English poetry. So Arnold says about him as, so Chaucer lacks not only the accent of Dante but also the high seriousness. So it is an important thing to remember, high seriousness. Okay. So Dryden stated about him, here is God's plenty, and a rough diamond and must first be polished ere he shines. Okay. Next. So W.J. Long called the prologue to the Canterbury Tales as the prologue to modern fiction. So it portrays of realism. We know that all types of peoples are portrayed in Canterbury Tales. So S.T. Nail, who stated as, had Chaucer written in prose, it is possible his Troilus and Cressida is considered to be English novel better than Pramila. Okay. In Fairy Queen, Edmund Spenser called Chaucer well of English undefiled. So these are the important points to remember. That is, Neville Cogill interpreted Canterbury Tales in 20th century English. Okay. So you should remember that too. So Albert called Chaucer the earliest of the English moderns and the morning star of Renaissance. So who is the morning star of Reformation is John Wycliffe, and Chaucer found his native tongue a dialect and left it a language, is stated by Howells. So Chaucer is the earliest of great moderns. It is stated by Matthew Arnold. So another view is said by Matthew Arnold, that is high seriousness, and another is great modern. So if Chaucer is the father of English poetry, he is the he is the grandfather of English novel too. This is stated by Chuston. Next, let us see important points about his major works. So first is in the Legend of Good Woman. So the 9 legends are important. That is Thisbe, Cleopatra, Dido, Medea. These are the important characters, 9 important ladies in Legend of Good Woman, which created by Chaucer. So Dryden rewrote Canterbury Tales in modern English. So Boccaccio and Petrarch, right, and Dante influenced a lot on Chaucer's work. So on diplomatic mission, he went to Italy, right? So there he met Petrarch, Boccaccio. So they influenced him. So he makes a clear reference of Petrarch's in his clerk's tale. So he portrayed Petrarch in his clerk's tale. Okay. So his influence is seen in Clerk's Tale. So he is called father of English poetry and grandfather of English novel too. So he is the morning star of song and morning star of Renaissance. So Arnold says about him that Chaucer lacks not only the accent of Dante but also his seriousness. So he is the first one to use ottava rima in the Book of Duchess. So Book of Duchess is important book by Chaucer. Okay, so it is the first person who used ottava rima. It is the 8 syllabic line in couplet rhyming. So he is the first person to use heroic couplet in the Legend of Good Woman. So remember that the Book of Duchess use ottava rima. So the Legend of Good Woman use heroic couplet. So heroic couplet is 10 syllabic rhyming in couplets, that is decasyllabic couplet. So he is the first to use rhyme royal in Troilus Cressida. Rhyme royal is 10 syllable line arranged in 7 line stanza, that is A B A B B C C. So Chaucer's Troilus and Cressida is called novel in verse. Remember that it is called as novel in verse, and he is the person who created Cressidas, and this be so important woman character are created by Chaucer first. In the House of Fame, Chaucer resembles closest to Dante's Divine Comedy. Remember that. The general prologue to Canterbury Tales contain 858 lines. So they will ask these important lines. What are the lines? How many lines are there in prologue to Canterbury Tales? So the line is 858. Okay. Next. So the general plan of Canterbury Tale is taken from Boccaccio's Decameron. So we said right. So Boccaccio influenced him a lot through his Italy mission. So in Canterbury, the pilgrims could be seen going to Thomas Becket shrine, right, in the month of April. So they may ask, oh, what is the month they went to Canterbury Tales? That is April. So he gave pen picture of 21 pilgrims in his work. So Occleve wrote a famous poem related to Chaucer, praising, okay, that is Regiment of Princes, on the death of Chaucer. So Chaucer and Langland died in the same year, that is 1400. Remember that. So Chaucer has been criticized for presenting about courts and cultivated classes and neglected the sufferings of the poor. So although in the Canterbury Tales 120 stories were planned, but only 24 stories were completed. So he planned to convey 120 stories, but at last he finished only 24 stories. So Felicity is introduced by Chaucer into English, and the longest tale is Knight's Tale, and Chaucer is called as Prince of Plagiarists. So remember that, we confuse a lot with this. So remember that. So Chaucer was not in any sense a poet of people, just said by Hudson. So this period is divided into 3 period literary model. That is, first is French literary model. It starts from 1359 to 1372. So it is called as youth and early manhood period of nearly 30 years. It is French influence in blood. So first work is Romance of the Rose. So it is full of poem, allegory of love. So it is translated from French. Next is the Book of Duchess. So it is published in 1369. So it is full of poem, dramatic and emotional. So it talks about the wife of John of Gaunt. Okay. Next is the Complaint into the Pity. So Chaucer used first time a 7-line stanza known as Rhyme Royal in this Complaint into Pity in this work, and he wrote graceful love poem too. So it is also a poem which written in French. So the ABC is another important poem which written in 8 stanza. It is about prayer to Virgil. So these are Greek writers, right? Next, the Complaint of Moss and Queen Enida. So these are the French works by Chaucer. So what are the Italian literary model works? It starts from 1372 to 1385. So nearly period of 15 years is considered as Italian period. So Italian influence, active diplomat and man of affairs. These are the influence made in age of Chaucer, that is in Chaucer. So what are the works during Italian period is Troilus and Cressida. So it consists of 8,000 lines. It is source is taken from Boccaccio's Il Flasto. So don't confuse with Decameron. So it is Il Flasto is the influence. Okay. Idea of his own age and society are dealt in Troilus and Cressida, like Canterbury Tales. So, House of Fame. Next poem is House of Fame. It is unfinished and it is written in 1380. It is a dream work. So, it talks of great eagle from little temple of Venus. Okay, and talks of rock of ice. Next, the Parliament of Fools. So it is published in 1382. So it consists of 699 lines poem. So it is written in rhyme royal, and the poem has been called one of the best occasional verse in English language. And next is Legend of Good Woman. It is also an important poem in 1385. So it is written on a queen, that is Bohemia, so who is asking him to write of about a good woman. So Chaucer used to write of legend of a good woman on behalf of her. So next we will see about English period. It starts from 1385 to 1400. So 15 years is period is considered as English period. So the famous work of this period is Canterbury Tales, which was written after influence of Boccaccio's Decameron. So influence of Decameron work, he wrote Canterbury Tales. Okay. So let us see about the Canterbury Tales. It consists of 17,000 lines. So in this Canterbury Tales, 32 characters are going to a trip to the Shire of the Martyr Saint Thomas Becket in Canterbury. Okay. So these 29 characters are mentioned in the line 24 of the general prologue. So 29 characters are mentioned in general prologue. Remaining this 4 characters are not mentioned. Okay. So the narrator joins this group, so making 30, and the host is 31, and Harry Burley, okay, who makes 31, and the canon's yeoman, okay, who joins the group later and makes 32. Okay. So totally there are 32 characters in this Canterbury Tales. So the narrator gives a description of 27 pilgrims, except okay, second nun or nun's priest. So he gave description about 27 pilgrims. So this work remained unfinished at Chaucer's death. Okay. So in the prologue to Canterbury Tales, Chaucer employed the heroic couplet. So remember that he used heroic couplet in prologue to Canterbury Tales. So what we want to remember is 4 characters are not satirized or criticized by Chaucer in the Canterbury Tales. They are knight, parson, clerk, plowman. Okay. So remember that knight, parson, clerk and plowman. So who are the clergymen in the Canterbury Tales are priors, Madam Elgine, and parson, friar and monk. So Canterbury Tales have the character from 3 social groups priorly, that are nobility, church and commoners. Okay. So these 3 are importantly played in our characters in the works of Canterbury Tales. So who are the important characters in Canterbury Tales? That is plowman, who would help the poor for the love of Christ. Okay. So he helps the poor people and never take a penny. So you use not get any amount from the poor people or any other people. So he called as he would pay his tax regularly. So he was very praised by Chaucer. So next is Ost. So he is bold in speech. That is, he is so like a type of brave. Okay. and full of tact. No many attribute he lacked. So he is merry hearted. So he is very happy. And doctor, that is physician, next character who are the important character. He was rather close to expenses, though she spends lot of amounts and kept the gold and he won. So he mainly focuses on gold. Okay. Next is reverie. So he was under contract, okay, to present the accounts, that he was maybe accountant. So he was under the guidance of master. Okay. Next, Miller. So a Wagner and Buffon. So he was working as a travel name. And next is Summoner. So he who loved garlic, onion. So these type of things he liked. Okay. So he would shout and zamble as if he was like a crazy man and would not speak a word except. So he used to speak Latin when he was drunk. Okay. When he had a drunk, he only uses Latin. More than that, he don't use English during drunk. So next is Franklin. So his house was nearly short of break meat. So it's all of Franklin. So he is a very interesting person. So Clerk of Oxford. So his portrait is full of horses and how he is look like is not so fat and he is full of bear. Okay. And Freya, who knows the tavern well in every town. So he's like a type of drunkard and every innkeeper and better than lepers, beggars. So he knows very well about every taverns. Okay. And his next is merchant. So he's working as full of knowledge and none knew he was in debt. So he is in debt. So he adds that to the outers people. Okay. Next is wife of birth. Mostly we want to care important thing of wife of birth is he had 5 husbands. So wife of birth is an important character. He used to laugh and chat with and he likes to knew the remedy of love mischance. Okay. And he knew the oldest dances. So we want to read lot of about wife of birth. Okay. So next is cook. So add an inkler on the high knee as for blank me he made it with the best. So he had some uckler. Okay. That's all about the characters of Canterbury Tales. We are considered as an important. So if you want, you can read it more detail. Okay. I just say you shortly what is what, so you can go through it fully. Okay. So we will present these PDF in our Telegram and WhatsApp group. So if you are interested, you can join there and you can benefit from them. Okay, thank you for watching our video. We are proud to give this video. It's short but precise. So we will meet in next video and thank you for listening. So if you are interested, kindly subscribe our YouTube channel and if any doubts, please post in comment section. And thank you for watching. Stay tuned at Net Dream channel and Help Net Aspirants channel.